Button. There we go. And we are live. Gaming family, welcome back to the channel. It's your brother LVG of the Gamers section. We got another interview lined up for another indie dev. You guys know how much we love indie devs. Please, sir, if you don't mind, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hi everyone watching. My name is Antonio. I am the solo developer behind Pneumata. It's an indie survival horror game inspired by games like Resident Evil and Outlast. So it's going to be kind of like a super gritty, just a realistic psychological horror game. Just having a lot of fun making.
Pneumata. See, I never knew how to pronounce it at first, so thank you so much for clarifying that. I'm like, is the P silent? What am I doing here? No, that's cool. We'll definitely get in more in the game about later, but obviously we want to know you as the dev first. So solo making the game, that is dope, man. That is really, really dope. So let me ask you a question firstly. What is your favorite game, or what was your favorite game?
Favorite game, probably The Last of Us Part 1.
Okay. Now, are you saying that because of the TV show, or you really love the game?
Oh no, I got that game on every platform that it's been released.
Right.
The remaster, I played it constantly over and over when it came out. So that's probably like my favorite, probably ever.
That's dope. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of which, how do you feel about the TV show?
I haven't watched it. I'm kind of just putting it off just so I can binge it all at once.
Yeah. I understand. That's cool. Last of Us. So are you going to buy it on PC when it comes out on Steam?
Probably. Yeah.
Me too. I understand. I feel bad saying that, but I probably will. No, I didn't buy it on the PS5 just because I was like, I gave y'all too much money. I'm good.
Yeah.
And it was like Steam. Well, it's gonna look better on PC, so let's do it. Why not? Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. So, Mata, man, so you said your inspirations for the game was games like Outlast, Resident Evil, things of that nature. So, is that what you took inspiration from making the game, or did you just kind of wanted to, I guess, express your I guess your fear, your emotions from that game into making this current game?
So the journey to getting to where the game's at now is kind of, it's not very straightforward. It's kind of, it's changed and evolved a lot. So initially when I started making the game, I wanted to make a game kind of like Soma, which is like, frictional games.
Mm-hmm.
So it started off that way. I just wanted to make a type of existential crisis, a story-rich game just focused on, life and death and who you are, like, do you exist and what's reality, this and that. So that's how it started off, based off like a story that way. And then as I was making the game, it kind of, all my inspirations just kind of started pouring in, and kind of evolved the game towards what it is now. So a lot of like Outlast inspiration and Resident Evil inspiration kind of just morphed the game into what it is now.
Cool.
And so I personally, I don't like playing horror games.
What?
I like watching people play horror games because I'm too scared. I'm too cowardly to play horror games on my own. So,
don't say that, man.
Yeah. But I love everything horror. I love watching horror. If I play a horror game, I need someone next to me playing it. So,
right. You pass off the controller like, okay, I can't go down this hallway, man. You do it.
Yeah. Basically. So when I was making this game, I wanted to make something that's super terrifying, like horror. Like I wanted to make a game that makes me afraid to play it in a way. So that's kind of like was my goal is atmosphere and tension and just making something. I just thought it would be really awesome to make a game that people can play and I can watch them play. And so that was my goal with this game.
So if you're too scared to play the game, then you go, I don't want to play the game, man. Like, come on now. Come on, man. You psyching me out now. Like, it's going to be a good experience. Oh, it's too scary for me. Like, wait, hold on, guy. Hold on. What do you mean it's too scary?
No, that's cool. I'm cowardly, so you might take it easier than me.
I don't know, man. I scream a lot. I
Yeah.
scream. A couple bad words might pop out, man. But I don't know. I've been watching trailers, prior to talking to you and whatnot, and I'm like, man, this is looking really, really good. And then I'm just shocked when you told me you're the only one working on it. It's like, whoa, that's dope. That's dope. And then I
Yeah.
think Cicada Sirens is doing the music for it. I think.
Yeah, that's right. For the co-composer for Signalis.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, they're working on it, then it's going to sound beautiful. Because I mean, I've definitely enjoyed that work, so I know it's going to sound really, really good. So I guess what made you want to become a dev?
I've been trying for 13 years. So
Okay.
yeah, ever since I was little, I've always liked to, going to level editors and other games, and just building maps
Mm,
and writing stories. So um, I guess I first got into it just because in in my freshman year of high school, I started learning how to do 3D modeling and animation,
okay.
and so that once I started doing that, it kind of sucked me into game development completely. I was just okay. I want to do this. And so I kept going. It always was a hobby for me. I never thought of going to school for it.
Mm,
For me, it was kind of like, this is what I want to do for fun. On when I just have free time, this is what I want to do. I just
right.
want to work on learning how to make games, and so it's been 13 years of me trying, just
Okay.
making terrible stuff that I never released. Um, but I feel like now it's kind of like it's all come down to like a boiling point where,
Yeah.
over 13 years, it's okay. You're learning how to do 3D modeling, and you're learning how animations work, and you're learning textures, and all these different things. You're kind of like learning what these are.
Mm,
Um, and so it's kind of all kind of culminated into a point where I feel comfortable and confident that I can just go ahead and just launch and ship a title. So I'm going full 100%, you know, just all in on Pneumata, just gonna make sure to get it done.
okay. That's cool. That's cool. Um, so let me ask you a question. Outside of being a game dev, outside of being a gamer, do you have any other hobbies? Anime, movies, just going to the gym, jujitsu, MMA. What are your hobbies? So we can know you more as a personal, on a personal level.
Yeah. So everything that you just said, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's that simple.
yeah. So yeah, I love anime. So
Yeah.
I'm a big anime watcher,
What are you currently watching
enjoyer.
right now?
Um, right now, I caught up on Attack on Titan, and
Okay.
been watching Black Clover.
Okay.
I think next I'm gonna start Bleach from the beginning, so that's gonna be fun. Got a
Oh man, yeah.
couple hundred episodes to go. But yeah, I love doing boxing, Muay Thai,
Okay.
a little bit of jujitsu. Not, I've kind of just been dipping my toes in that.
Yeah.
Um, I love MMA. I love, I'm a big combat sports enthusiast, and
Okay.
horror movies, and just
But
playing
not
video
horror
games.
games.
Horror games, that's when I watch YouTube. That's when
Right.
I go on Twitch and I watch people play horror games. It's a little
Yeah.
too much. It's a little too stressful for me personally.
I remember it's funny that you mentioned Soma because I remember I first tried to play it and the first section you had to I think you had to get inside of a room and break a glass and then you
Yeah.
heard whatever screaming in the background. I turned it off so quick and I was like, nah, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this, man. It's not happening. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. I'm not doing it. So you mentioned you had prior projects. So this is your first game you are actually releasing, but not the first game you ever worked on. Am I right about that? Or
Yeah, that's right. I've made and worked on a bunch of personal projects over the
mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten them pretty far along the process, but I've just always I've never been able to feel confident or comfortable enough kind of getting it over the finish line.
Okay.
But each one of those projects that have, I guess, failed,
Mm-hmm.
they've been great learning experiences. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of see like, this project that failed because XYZ and this project because of, this and that. So I've been kind of just trying to figure out what my biggest pitfalls were and kind of addressing those from the beginning for this project, just making sure that, everything I'm focused on optimization and the groundwork first, instead of just kind of just without a plan, just going in and just making a mess kind of with the gameplay and everything, just making a mess. So this time I spent a lot of time in I guess you would say pre-production, just spending a lot of time just experimenting and going around brainstorming, getting ideas, getting all of that out of the way early, and kind of just iterating and just kind of trying to settle on something that feels just right.
Okay.
Feels and keeping the scope also, because it's just me. So I'm not going to be able to make a 20 hours of dialogue and all this. So it's kind of understanding what the limitations are, but at the same time trying to push the limits a little bit. Just go all out. My goal is to have like kind of like your reaction. Like how could this have been made by one person? That kind of thing. And with that, it can it's the business side of things that people don't realize. Takes a lot of time.
Definitely.
And if you don't understand the business side of it too, it's kind of like at the end of the day, like it might all be for nothing. Not exactly for nothing, because even if nobody plays the game, I'm just gonna be extremely happy that I made it. And I finished it and I released it, and I'm gonna have that with me forever. So that's actually, no matter what happens, I'm gonna have that.
Definitely,
so I'm just happy about that, actually.
Oh, well, people will play the game. I know I'll play it for sure. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, this looks interesting. This looks really, really good. And again, I saw Cicada Siren's name on it, and I was like, oh, so it's going to sound beautiful. So it's like, I got to play this. I got to play this. All right, so let's go more in depth about your game. So I know we personally spoke about it earlier. So you said you are messing with not Unity, I'm sorry, Unreal Engine, correct? Unreal 5?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so what made you choose that over, I guess, the Unity engine, for example? Because I know those are some of the two major engines that are being used, used with any devs.
So I made that decision probably around 2014.
Okay.
I initially started with Unity. I used Unity for a couple of years. And for some reason, I just my brain just didn't like Unity, so I just started using Unreal and just stuck to it ever since. So for the last however many years, I've just been using it. I've just grown very comfortable with it. I've learned, how to use it at a very high level, I guess. So for me, it was kind of like a no-brainer. Also, just because, especially with making a first-person game, you're gonna have like first person animations, and it's going to be like that type of game. I feel like Unreal just has so many tools that makes that pretty easy, and it's kind of easier to prototype also in a way, and kind of get the project going quickly. And so for me, it was the best option, and it's a beautiful engine. I upgraded the project also started with 5.0, and then 5.1 kind of just, it's made production so much better. There's so many features coming in constantly. So
cool.
I'm very happy to be using Unreal.
That's cool. So you said you switched to Unreal about you said how many years ago again? I'm sorry.
That was probably like 8 years ago when I switched.
So how long have you been working on this project?
Oh, I guess I think I misspoke.
No, you're good. I was like, wait, is he working on this game for 8 years? Okay.
No, I think I probably said that wrong. No, I started this project in July of last year. So it's been 6 months.
Okay.
Or so.
And again, you've done all the animations, enemies, working on the dialogue, all that stuff. That's all you.
So it's definitely not all me, just
Uh,
because I am using assets.
mm,
So there are existing assets that I'm using, and what it comes down to is being able to utilize those assets properly, making
okay.
sure everything fits, making
Right.
sure everything kind of fits my purposes, so that if whatever assets I'm using, it's kind of like focusing on modifying those to either look the way I need or using certain assets as kind of like base
Okay. I got
assets.
you. I got you.
So you can just modify their textures. You can do a whole lot of things with assets, and then also like for example with Cicada Sirens, I
Mm,
that's he's going to be making the music,
yeah.
and so it's working with freelancers and contractors to help with different things. Just seeing working with different voice actors possibly and seeing what works. But yeah, my main focus is just getting the game to feel good. I just That's
Yeah.
been my main priority, is just the gameplay, just making sure it feels good. So that's when my main focus has been. That's why I've been kind of well, as so far, just using assets to kind of to help move the game forward a lot faster.
That's cool. No, that definitely no. And again, like I said, man, respect to you, man. Just I get using pre-built things, built items, but still, just you working on this. That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty cool. So with you saying you want people to feel real about this game, what are you? I guess what's the feeling of the response you want to invoke from people that are going to play your game? Like, do you want them to be like, "Holy crap, this is a mind trip"? Like, what response are you looking for?
I kind of want to have a mixed, um, kind of like a mixture of that. So I want people to kind of experience that psychological part where that cosmic horror part,
Mm,
where everything like visually it's shocking in a way where it's kind of like, holy crap, this is crazy. But I also want to make something that feels raw
mm,
and just gritty and unnerving, like just a super tense atmosphere. I want it to be really immersive as well.
yeah.
um this game, it takes place for the most part inside of an apartment complex,
Mm,
but in a way, I guess the psychological aspects of it, you're confined within this building, but the the visual side of it will change drastically. So there's going to be a lot of Lovecraftian influences, I
I
guess.
was
So
going to get to that. Yeah, and I was like, because I saw some Lovecraftian esque in there. I wanted to get to that next, but you already beat me to it. That's
yeah,
cool. No, that's fine because I'm actually a fan of the Lovecraft game. It took me a while to get into them, but once I actually sat down and opened my mind
yeah,
to it, I was like, oh, this is a trip. This these guys is what was he on when he made this or wrote this or
yeah,
oh, what is going on here? Give me some of that. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
All right, so I guess my next question I want to ask you is how do you plan or organize, or how did you plan and organize this project?
Um, so it all came down to the initial story,
Mm,
which was inspired by one of Lovecraft's stories. It's called The
mm,
Rats and the Walls,
okay.
and also the story of David versus Goliath. So those were the two main inspirations for the story.
Mm,
And so with that in mind, I kind of used those inspirations to come up with a story for the game, um, and kind of planned the development of the game around that initial story. And so my background also is, I went to college for a few years for traditional fine arts.
mm,
And one of my biggest things that I learned there was kind of blocking out the whole picture, right?
Okay.
Not going into too much detail right away, but just blocking everything out. So the whole development of this game was, for the most part, it was decided early on in the first 2 months or so.
Okay.
And so with those foundations for the story, it kind of gives me that freedom also to have workarounds and polish it and iterate, but it's all already on the foundations. It's already on solid blocks.
Got you.
So it's kind of confined to the story, the overall story that was already kind of created. So that's been kind of like my rock, my foundation.
Okay, cool. So during this journey of making this game, what are some challenges that you faced, and I guess how did you overcome them?
I think it's just pivoting. Yeah. So when you start coming up with an idea, you're kind of thinking, you start going a little too big, and so that's kind of like, it's getting these obstacles out of the way early. Kind of
Right.
just, you're coming up with these grand ideas. You're like, oh, okay, I wanted to do this. I want the character to be fully mocapped and facial animations, and you want to have this crazy scene, this cinematic cut scene, and it's going to do this. And I want, let's make this open world. And, so your mind starts going kind of a little crazy at the beginning, all the possibilities. And then you kind of start chipping away at it, because it's kind of like a blob at first, it's kind of like a huge mess of ideas. And if you let it stay a big mess for too long, that's when it creates all of these different obstacles down the line. So you really want to just get rid of all the potential obstacles early on, and kind of focus on what I can do well, and just focus on that. Just, I know I can do this really well,
Right.
instead of kind of just trying to focus on things that might come out, like subpar or kind of low quality in a way. So that's been kind of like the thing that I'm most proud of with this project so far, is I've been able to kind of avoid any huge obstacles right away.
Okay.
Just by eliminating those early on, pretty much.
Okay. Cool. So next question. Apart from characters and settings, what are some elements you're using for storytelling?
I think I'm utilizing a lot of environmental storytelling, and at the same time, one thing I have been working with Cicada Sirens is with the music, and the music being a tool for not only storytelling, but kind of evoking emotions as well.
Definitely.
And kind of guiding people, guiding players towards those headspaces that they should be in, or that, kind of almost like giving them a helping hand, kind of showing them like, this is the experience that we want, not so much forcing that onto people, but kind of just helping guide them through the story, and helping, using the music to kind of guide them through that process. And environmental storytelling, letting them explore and find, some of the lore and the backstory for the game, and kind of giving that freedom to the players, almost to kind of explore and find out the story, instead of kind of shoving it in their face too much.
Okay, cool. Now, Numata, does that mean soul or spirit? No, what does that mean? The word Numata?
It does mean spirits in Greek.
Okay. Okay, I was just trying to do a little research. I'm like, so what is that? Okay, no, that's cool. All right. So when this game releases, wow, the grammar was amazing there. When the game releases, Are you going to be working on or planning any future projects?
I
Or
don't
is
have
this going to
anything
be one
planned.
and done? What? Come on, man.
No, I think I can't really think far ahead right now.
Okay.
My full focus is just on this project,
Yeah.
and providing support to the game for, you know, for however much longer it would need,
Definitely.
at post launch. So once it launches, it's kind of like giving myself maybe like 6 months at least before I
Mhm.
even think about starting or focusing on a new project. I want to make sure, you launch, and then the months after that, just making sure everything's going smoothly, everything's going well.
Mhm.
If there's any problems with the game, I don't want to just abandon it right away.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
kind of just want to just focus on that and just go all out on it.
Cool. 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 Sorry. So, what I guess advice or recommendations would you give to any future devs that want to, I guess, take a walk in your shoes, be a solo dev, or just create a game? Period.
Well, like I said, um, I've made a bunch of games that never saw the light of day.
You should put them out.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, just kind of just throw them out for free. Just put them
Right.
on itch.
Here, just try it.
Yeah, but I think that's just one thing. Is if I would have done one thing differently too, is just I would have just released whatever that
Mhm.
I had made,
Yeah.
because I think that part is important. That experience of creating a project, finishing it, and just releasing it. Even if
Definitely.
it's not finished, just release it. Just make
Yeah.
it free. Um, just I think that's pretty much probably the most valuable thing is not trying to make your huge AAA dream project for your first game.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so I guess that's one thing that's important is this wouldn't be my first game technically, right? So
Right.
it seems like an ambitious project, and it is an ambitious, pretty big game, but um, it's been years and years coming up to this point. I didn't just wake up last year and just try to tackle this. So just making small projects, just experimenting, having fun, just enjoying the process, because
Yeah.
making games isn't always it's not glory and the most fun time 24/7.
Mhm.
There's a lot of times where it's gonna be kind of boring. There's you're not always going to make visually appealing progress.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stuff that you'll be doing that no one will notice visually, so it doesn't feel like you're doing much. But I think just working on small projects and learning to love the process, I think,
Okay.
is probably like really important advice. Because if you don't love the process, then you probably won't finish the game.
Respect. Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. Okay. Cool. 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 Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. So if you don't mind, again, name of the game, when the project will launch, and what platforms it'll be available on.
Yeah. So name of the game is Pneumata. Um, I hope that's the right pronunciation too. It
It is
feels
today.
right.
It is
It,
today.
it feels right.
Right.
Pneumata. Um, yeah. So it should be launching most likely in 2024, quarter one.
Mm,
Um, so I still have upwards of 13 to 14 months left scheduled for development.
mm.
Um, Currently, it is expected to launch on all current platforms, major
Okay.
platforms. Not Switch. I don't expect it to go on Switch. That would be an entire undertaking, just
Mm,
because it would have to be completely optimized for the Switch hardware.
mm.
But right now, it's kind of it is planned for Xbox, PlayStation, Steam.
Cool. 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 Hey, man. Well, thank you so much for taking time out your day. If you don't mind, just hang out a little bit after we shut everything down.
Mhm.
But Guys, again, this is LVG at the Gamer Section. And again, Antonio, thank you again so much, man, for sharing your passion with this game. I look forward to it. We got a whole year, but it's all right. I look forward to it, man. I'm definitely going to keep watching trailers and just watching your project and everything grow. On behalf of the Gamer Section, we thank you guys for coming through. I'm out. Peace and love. Y'all be safe out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, man.